Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Rusty Quill Gaming Podcast. I'm your host and GM Alex Newall, and with me today I have...
James Ross,
Bryn, Monroe,
and Ben Meredith.
And who are you playing?
It's Bertrand MacGuffingham.
Hamid, Saleh, Haroun, al-Tahan,
Sasha, Racket.
Zolf Smith.
We're getting very slick.
Yeah.
We're getting very
We
good.
remember our name.
We're getting
Yeah.
slick like an oiled rolling over a...
It's not
on
your
a...
strength. It's not your
no,
strength, James.
no. Yeah.
You know
I
Lydia.
prepped them beforehand.
Oh.
Just like a shadow that's been massaged with incredibly thick, high-quality oil by a magical masseuse, so that all of the kinks are completely knocked out and it just flows like easy
open this
summer
door.
Sundays.
Easy summer Sundays.
That's how prepared that is. It's good. It's good.
Wasn't very prepared. I don't actually prepare them before.
Too late now. They've planted that seed that all
Oh,
of your
everyone's
wit is
gonna believe
pre-scripted.
Yeah. Script the whole thing and our improv.
That's why I'm so tired. It's why I'm so tired, is that I'm writing an hour episode.
I wrote this interruption. Foolishly, you didn't edit it out. So...
You did write that bit,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
wrote the bit about that bit.
My script says that at this point Bryn chimes in with, Alex is really great and I love him, but I choose to recite it as, Alex is really great and I love him.
Despite the fact that the director's note written by Alex says, just do it very sincerely.
Open bracket. Bryn tells Alex he's great. Everyone cheers. Close bracket. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
All right.
That got weird very quickly. So, you have made it obviously from Dover to Calais to Paris. You're in Paris and are now apparently incredibly wealthy because you own the presidential suite in perpetuity.
I'm not wealthy. It's very different having something paid
yeah.
for you for reasons you don't understand and becoming beholden to people that you don't know. And actually owning assets.
Yeah.
I think if Sasha ever was given ownership of an asset, she'd try to steal it from herself because it's the only way that she knows how to interact with property.
Property is theft, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If anything, you have the most clear-sighted view of all.
The Thieves Guild are Marxists.
So, currently you are in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, you're in your suite. More importantly, a pair of very, very sinister-looking gnomes have turned up. After Bertie making use of the uninterruptible room, the room that is sealed against all other enchantments and listening-ins and so on.
I shall be writing a very strongly worded letter.
Nonetheless, chose to explain the nature of the MacGuffingham curse/contract and was branded, burned,
As soon as
punished
he emerged.
as soon as he
Not a
emerged.
real friend.
And
Oh, it
yeah,
got very
of course, it
emotional.
did get
Yeah,
very
it did.
emotional.
That's sad.
Why would he reveal it to you if he didn't think he could trust you? And isn't
feel-
that a better
feel-
definition?
I
of friendship?
feel
Because he
like-
just wants to tell people that it's all about Bertie.
There's an element of that.
So,
He mostly wanted to tell Brutal, but
Yeah.
unfortunately
We were just
all in
there.
the room.
but it's okay because remember, what happens in the room stays in the room.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I assume he's just been punished for cutting contact.
We'll have to see.
Oh,
That
the
is,
Cheshire
that
Grin.
is the most logical. Oh, one more thing, just briefly. Now, my alignment for my character was lawful neutral. Now, that
Yes.
is my outward face.
I need to address this now anyway for listeners in general. So in Pathfinder, they still make use of the alignment system. We've mentioned it in like Metacast and things like that before, but broadly speaking, alignment is meant to be a sort of moral compass worldview type of deal. Now, there's whole reams of writing on the subject, so I'm just going to have to lay down the law here to get it done, okay? In this game that I am running, there are alignments. I will not use them unless absolutely strictly necessary. I've said it before. If Zolf suddenly starts killing babies and doing horrible things, obviously he's in violation of the point of that build. But-
Sasha ever had a consistent moral compass.
Oh, you'd be out. But my point is that I'm not going to hold you to it. Whereas there are entire subsystems dedicated to tracking what actions you've done and how that relates to your alignment, and I think it interferes. That said, as a brief overview, we have lawful, we have chaotic, and we have good, we have evil, and neutral in the middle for both of those axes. Broadly speaking, in this world, lawful is more a leaning towards things being organised, centralised, coordinated. Obviously, that tends to tie into law as we understand it. Chaotic would be more a case of the ends justify the means. Good and evil's a fairly transparent one. But generally speaking, the way that it goes through neutral is it's about who you care about. So good, you care about everyone. Neutral, you care about you and yours. Evil, you care about yourself. So for lawful neutral, which is broadly speaking the alignment that Bertie's been playing, it's you would prefer things to be organised and that there's a way of doing things, and sometimes the end doesn't justify the means. You've got to do the thing and you've got to step through the hoops. And if the hoops are wrong, you change the hoops. You don't do without the hoops. Neutral, meaning you're not like we said, you're not going round murdering people in their sleep, but you're not a nice man because you only care about you and yours. So that's where that lawful neutral comes in.
I think the only person who actually technically interacts with the alignment things is me with the cleric, because if I alter my alignment away from my god, then they go, no, you don't get any more power.
And this whole thing's dedicated to you'd have to then find a new god or make good with your original. It's a whole big thing.
Go live in a cottage somewhere.
Or go live in a cottage somewhere, yes.
Quite nice. We check in on Zolf every now and again.
Hello!
He's evil now.
Hello. Doing gardening with the
Evil bees.
gardening.
He picks potato by just stabbing the ground with his now defective trident.
Quite awkward, really.
Yeah.
Hamid is chaotic good because I believe that the definition of the alignment system means that from inside their own head, all characters are chaotic good because they believe they're doing the right thing, but they break the rules if absolutely necessary. And therefore I make all characters chaotic good because I'm like, that's what everyone believes, as far as I'm concerned.
And
Someone like Bertie
No, it's not
does
completely
obey the
true.
rules,
Also the problem.
even if you like rules.
Yeah.
see, I'm not going to open a whole ant's
I
nest
was
here.
just about to.
This sounds
But-
like a massacre.
Yeah, that's the
really
thing.
is.
There is a subject called moral philosophy. People have been talking about this for a while.
So that's the new Rusty Quill moral philosophy cast.
The problem is there's literally a plane of good and a plane of evil. Like that's where it differs from.
It's always hard.
Ryan,
It's always hard to do like. It's always hard to do philosophy and stuff when you can actually just go to God and go.
It's exactly
right.
that kind
Okay,
of
I've got a
thing,
series of questions. I can
Does
do
God
you answer
exist?
them.
Yes, and he lets me do this. There you go.
That solves a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
The only time it's going to come up is there are creatures who can say, for instance, do protect against good. That's a mechanical effect, but for the most part, I try to dodge around that kind of thing.
But so anyway, gnomes.
A couple of sinister-looking gnomes are stood in a doorway with a servant having opened it, and they have just uttered a sentence to you. What was it? It's time we talk?
Yeah, so,
You're breaking up with me.
It's not you.
Good.
You wish.
So the door is open.
I've just told them that I'm sorry that I've had their room, because it seems much more appropriate that they have it. Yeah, like you can have some. There's lobsters. You can have we're sorry we ate your lobsters. Obviously, you. It looks like.
Well, why don't you come and join us and share the food and tell us what you're here to talk about?
In perfect synchronicity, two gnomes step through and, again, coordinating between themselves. One closes the door, the other one gestures for the servant to leave. They look to Sasha for confirmation before they do so.
Yeah, but stay nearby.
The servants do so. They're far too professional to show any kind of curiosity. And the gnomes step forward into the middle of the room. The door is closed. The mechanical man is still sort of back and to the left of Sasha, just within about a couple of feet. We presume that you understand why we are here.
No.
No idea.
You should explain to us.
See,
Nice
no one has a clue. We have no idea who or what you are.
They step
I wouldn't
forward.
go that far.
we have met them before at the British Museum.
Yeah.
Sir Bertrand, given the situation, you are exempt from any clauses of non-communication whilst we are within this room.
Phew.
You and everyone within this room.
I don't know nothing about no one. What? No.
Well, we can't
nothing.
be exempted from anything that we're not party to.
Yeah, we
They
don't
they
know.
sit down at the table. What you may not be aware, though, is that should you be spreading contract details regarding Sir Bertrand without our consent, there are punishments due, not of course to yourselves, in turn to Sir Bertrand.
Oh,
Oh,
alright then.
come on!
Fine. What kind of stuff can we do to him? So does hints mean that he loses a finger?
They both raise mirrored eyebrows. We think it would be best if this subject is not broached in too much detail. Suffice it to say, the penalties for communication are extremely severe.
Bertie makes eye contact with Sasha and then taps the hilt of his sword.
Right.
Now, it has come to our attention that not only have there been less than flattering press coverage regarding your actions, Not only that, there have been cases of people trapped in the tunnels, etc., due to your direct actions. Not only that, you have breached a subclause of the contract by which you have communicated with your fellow party members here.
No, there was no communication.
Absolutely no evidence of that. Can't prove a thing.
Hear any communication?
They reach up and then basically cast up into the air, and an illusion of a contract appears. So it's large. Think Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with their big flashy things. So it just comes up and it's glowing there over the table. And it's incredibly dense. It just looks like a pattern. At which point they sort of gesture and it zooms in, zooms in again, and in incredibly fine writing. The scale of this contract is phenomenal. Like, you could probably make a life's work of just analysing the legalese, and they just open with page 67, chapter 4, subclause 3, paragraph 9. Any attempts to break communication or intention to break contract using magical means to hide any kind of detection of breaks of contract is in itself a break of contract.
The bloody microdot.
You will have noticed the mark on your arm, Sir Bertrand.
Yes.
As you are well aware, that is, shall we say, a first mark. In the event of 3 cumulative breaks, there will be a penalty, more severe than merely marking your breaks of contract. Congratulations, you've already made 1. It is apparent that in order to meet the terms of your contract, the scale of your deeds will need to be significantly increased in aid of the common good. They say that, and there's a genuine slight sneer from both of them when they say in aid of the common good.
I frown.
With that in mind, you yourselves are now, of course, hold power over Sir Bertrand, exercise it as you will. It's his duty to choose who he associates with. If he associates and insists on sharing details of a contract with which he can be suffering.
Are we under any sort of obligations to act in any particular way?
They stand, and they put the chairs under the table. We suggest that you address the situation, Sir Bertrand, as quickly as possible. They ignore Zolf just a little longer. If you do not do so within the next month, Sir Bertrand, you will of course suffer a second penalty for breach of contract. They open the door.
Throw a bit of lobster after them.
It stops in mid-air, bursts into flame, and the ashes distribute themselves around the room.
I hate the law. I hate the law so much.
They both raise an eyebrow at Sasha, step into the lift. The lift closes, and they go.
I mean, while we haven't signed a contract with them and they can't punish us for breach of contract, they're probably quite powerful and could just, do us harm in other ways.
Don't like the law. They're always just.
Anyway,
they always get at you, right? They always get at you. You're just like, oh yeah, no, you're not at harm, and then you throw things out and you burst into flames. It's just not fair.
So anyway, I need to kill a dragon or something.
Yeah. We will.
That's not generally considered the public good. The meritocrats frown on it rather
A
strongly.
non-dragon, an anti-dragon.
Well, bearing in mind that what we're doing now would broadly be seen to the common good.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's get on with it. Chop chop.
Army of terrifying, infinite workers, or whatever it is that could happen out of this lot. Or just take it as it comes. You're going to have to learn how to be a good guy. It mainly boils down to doing the right thing at the right time, not planning it out. I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah, I know.
At this point, we'll say that the contract dissipates over the table,
Yeah, I'm reading that.
leaving an acrid smell.
Ah, the smell of lawyers.
The pool planes.
If we have any lawyer listeners, they're just going to tune out. Like, they're just going to be like, lawyers aren't evil! This is terrible!
Alright, okay,
they're
well,
not. I'm
specifically
playing a
these
thief.
lawyers are evil.
I'm playing a professional thief.
I'm playing a pirate! Well, an ex-pirate.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's going to be many pirates who listen to us. But maybe. Ooh,
Oh, that is an
More thieves
untapped
than lawyers.
market.
that would be fascinating.
Not a very profitable one because they pirate all your stuff.
I feel like they're giving away that they're not just lawyers, but specifically evil lawyers by calling themselves Harkness, Darkness, and Sphinx. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
No, that's
it's
just
better
their
than
names,
it's,
come
it's
on.
better than Wolfram and Hart in terms of hey we're evil.
So it's still evening. The 2 gnomes have left. What are we doing? Are we sticking to the original plan? You're going to wait for people to go to sleep and have an explore on the roof?
I think I'll lock my. I'm going to bed now, guys. No.
Yeah, when's our meeting?
I said 10:30 in the note.
Alright, well, we get a good night's sleep,
Nice civilized time.
rest up. We're all a bit high strung, I feel.
Right.
So a good night's sleep might help.
Right, well, not a problem. Well, my original plan A was stay in, teach a Brutor how to wear a monocle properly. But Now I think I'll go out and I'll foil some evil before bed. Just get a bit in. So toodaloo, see you in the morning.
All right.
Well,
I mean,
that
there
pro-
might be good, honest thieves that are just doing their jobs.
I'll do my best to work out how difficult a childhood they have had before I fillet them and wear their rib cage as a hat.
That ain't gonna get you any points in the good scale. Just randomly murdering people.
It won't be murder. They'll start it. I promise.
Self-defense. No, that's not good. Right, that's not going to help. They, as they've said, they need a much grander scale. Best you rest up and we focus on
I'll
the
find a
task
big
at
one.
hand.
Or 4.
Why don't you take down the corrupt system that is holding the common people down?
What, 9:30?
Yeah.
That's why getting
The corrupt system have gone to bed. Well, the advantage of the corrupt system is you get to leave early. That's...
Well, that's what I'm saying. So get a good night's sleep. In the morning, we'll go do this and we'll go pursue the grander scheme of stopping.
Certainly. Oh, I'm really tired. Oh, I yawn. Oh, no.
You can go.
Bedtime for me. Just go for a quick walk. Just get a bit of fresh air in before bed.
If you want to go murder some
I
people-
cast sleep on Bertie.
Yes!
Bert just falls down where he is.
You're not even going to get the roll. As in, are you not even going for the roll?
I'm not contesting that. That's funny.
I love
Brutal
it.
then potters up and then just falls down asleep on his chest.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we sort of thought this through. I probably can't move him into his bed now, can I?
Just leave him there, it'll be fine. Oh, we should probably, no, we need to
I
get
mean,
him out of his
he'll
armor.
wake up quite soon. I mean, not immediately, but it's not like it lasts all night.
Can he be roused?
Not immediately. No.
Brilliant. Right, let's just get his armor off and get him into bed.
Yeah.
And probably lock the door.
Then he'll just fall asleep again when he wakes up.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly.
Do that.
So
Quickly
you
divest Bertie's
all
armor.
strip Bertie unconscious of his armour and just huff him into a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you lock a door on him? You have keys should you wish to.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably won't. He probably can't be bothered to put the armor back on.
I'll tidy away the armour and store
Okay.
it nicely.
Okay. So Bertie's now asleep in a bed against his will.
Him and Brutal are both having the same dream about chasing rabbits. It's adorable.
Yeah, in both of them, Brutal's holding the leash. And it's really weird because Bertie's naked and running through everything on all floors.
Yeah.
All floors?
All of the floors.
All of the floors.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, the rabbit is a multiplanar rabbit.
And they're falling and falling and falling, and they wake up and it's an exam. It's very anyway, right, carry on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So, everyone else going to bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go sit on the roof and be proper Batman, for a while.
Brood.
I'm gonna brood.
Nice.
Sasha
Sit on an egg.
didn't really have any friends before. This has affected her deeply. She's sort of the idea that people are actually evil underneath. It's sort of deeply done into her. So deeply felt.
Should we say that you?
brood hardcore? There's going to be the moon will set behind her.
Should we say that you go up via the balcony?
I go out my window.
Okay. So when you head to the room, naturally the mechanical man he steps along behind you, and when you're heading into the room, he attempts to follow you into the room.
Close the door.
He knocks slightly.
Leave it shut.
Tunk tunk tunk.
I
Tunk tunk tunk.
back away from the door.
Tunk tunk tunk.
I go back and I lock the door.
Tunk tunk tunk.
And I
Tunk tunk tunk.
climb out the window.
Tunk tunk tunk. He just carries on knocking.
That's fine. I go to sleep on the roof.
So going up onto the roof.
I'm perfectly comfortable
No,
doing
that's
that
okay.
kind of thing. Right.
Going up onto the roof, we'll say you're just sitting, surveying the vista for a while.
Brooding.
Give me a,
Get a good hour's brooding.
give me a perception check.
19.
19. So there are a number of cornicing and so on up on the roof. There's even a section you're not on it, but you can see further along there's apparently like a roof garden or something. In fact, you could go basically from your penthouse suite to a roof garden bit, but you're on the gabling, and there are a number of gargoyles spread around it. However, here's a fun fact. Technically, a gargoyle is one that has a gutter in its mouth. That's your fun fact for you. They're ones that are for drainage. Otherwise, they're known as grotesques.
Oh.
But it's Pathfinder. There are a number of gargoyles, and we'll say that you're, perched up next to one of them. After a good half hour,
Brooding. Good
Of brooding.
Oh, she
It-
broods so hard.
it turns
Moles.
its head.
Yep.
It turns its head.
Is everything all right?
In French. In gutter French.
In gutter French.
Oh, all right, my china plate, yeah. It's proper grand, isn't it?
It's all right.
How are you?
Well,
turns its head, looking back out into the vista. Back.
Bit bored.
Alright, like, do you get to move around much here?
There's a good, 30 seconds of silence. Gives a slight shrug.
Right, but you must see some proper good stuff from up here. Like, are there riots and things?
Another, 10 seconds. Then gives... I have to describe it because it's audio. It just gives a sort of gesture of... just very non-committal.
So what's the best thing you've seen from up here? How's fireworks? Have you seen any dragons? Any airplane crashes?
About 60 years ago, there was an assassination. That
Up
was
here?
interesting. Yeah.
Cool, what happened?
It's like a diplomat or something.
On the roof?
Yeah.
It's well good.
Yeah.
Did you help?
Yeah.
The diplomat or the assassin?
First one, then the other.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah.
Did they give you any reward for that?
It kind of licks its lips, and rather than a smacking sound, there's the sound of stone on stone.
Could say that.
Ah, did you eat them?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I mean, bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what eating people is like for a gargoyle, morally. I mean, are you trapped up here?
Sort of.
I know what that's like, you know? I got trapped for most of my life. Underground though, not on the top. So you got a view at least.
Yeah.
Do you like the view?
He sort of gives a... and then gestures, incredibly moving his hand really slowly to one of the other gargoyles.
Terry's into it a bit more. Likes his culture.
Oh, does he? That's great. I want to make friends with all the gargoyles.
Sure,
I mean,
I'm just going to accelerate time and happy for you to just meet all the gargoyles.
Terry short for terracotta.
Yeah.
I was thinking for a pun for that. Yes. Well done.
I mean, Sasha isn't a charismatic woman. She's just quite friendly to just about everyone. Her meeting people isn't going to be the most spectacularly entertaining thing.
Roll me a knowledge local to see what information you can garner from them whilst just chatting about stuff with gargoyles on the roof.
11 plus 8, 19.
19.
So they're gargoyles.
So what I'll say is just from chatting to them about the city and so on, you now can find your way around Paris because over there you've got blah, over there you've got blah. So you've got a good
Knowledge local.
you've got a good idea of the layout of Paris, hotspots, things like that. But it's all from the perspective of one roof with gargoyles that can't leave it. So it's not like here's a good place to eat. It's a lot of people are outside that building over there sometimes. So it's a really weird perspective, but we'll say that plays out.
They all have heads. Beyond that, couldn't tell you anything. Yeah.
It's a clear night, so presumably you sleep on the roof, you said?
Yeah, I think that would be something that she would do quite often.
Sure, that's fine. Cool. We'll take a break there and we'll come back in a couple of minutes.
Night, Terry.
Right. Hello, adventurers. Zolf Smith here, cleric of Poseidon and leader of the London Rangers. Are you stuck in a rut? Bored of the same old routine? Wondering if there isn't something more to life? Well, guess what? There is! Become an adventurer with Rusty Quill today and live the life you always dreamed of. Adventure, excitement, adventure, treasure, adventure, travel, oh, for God's sake, enough! No, I'm not reading anymore. It's complete rubbish. Now, look here, I don't care how much you're paying. This is absolute twaddle. I wouldn't use this script to patch a leak. Being an adventurer isn't like that. It's awful. It's wet, tiring, smelly, thankless, dangerous, and no one in their right mind want to do it. People die. Sometimes more than once. Fine, look. This Rusty Quill thing, whatever it is getting bigger, and they're looking for more staff. Apparently there was a goblin attack or something, I don't know. If you're interested, then drop them an email to mail@rustyquill and let them know. Be sure to mention your skills and provide links to any work online you've done. I wouldn't expect much in the way of loot, but for what it's worth, they do seem like a decent lot. Mad as Hatter's mine, but none of them seem worth the drowning. So yeah, to summarise, help, mail@rustyquill, mad as Hatter's. Right, we're done here. Get this thing out of my face.
Okay, we'll pick up. It's the morning after. Sasha, as you re-enter your window, to to the point where it must have been slightly annoying for other people in the night, as the mechanical man has apparently been there knocking politely on the door all night, the whole time. Dug-dug-dug. Dug-dug-dug.
I'll just open the door.
He just sort of steps aside for you to enter the room. Enter the corridor, I should say.
Creepy thing.
Is there breakfast out, or
There
is
is a breakfast laid out. Everything was removed without anyone even asking for it to be, and it has been replaced with a ridiculous spread of sort of continental breakfast, obviously croissant
Are there kippers?
and blah blah. You could request kippers.
I'm going to request.
You've requested kippers. Kippers arrived, but
No
yeah,
one else is up yet. I'm just having a great time.
we'll skip ahead to post breakfast, and there is a servant knocks to enter the room. Steps in, carries a message for who was it that sent the message? Like, was it addressed from Hamid or from?
I would have signed it with my own name.
That's fine. So comes over and Mr. Tahan, and then he departs, and it's a sealed envelope with just your name on the front.
I open it.
Sure. In French, cursive, written, not typed. I regretfully am not able to meet you today. However, if you were to visit the Arc de l'Ordinateur, we would be happy to take delivery of the sample from the British Museum. Regards, Francois Henri.
It seems he might be trying to avoid us.
He might just be busy.
Oh, it's possible he's just busy.
How do you know that he wrote the note?
Again, can't be sure.
Suppose we should head over.
Yeah, we probably should.
Maybe you'll find a dragon or something, like an evil dragon.
We'll ask where he is. I mean, we'll need an appointment with him at some point.
Yeah.
So, what are people doing?
Well, I would suggest that our only leverage in terms of getting to meet him if he is unwilling to meet us is the possession of the thing that we are to deliver to him. So it might be best.
We were technically told just to deliver it to the ordinateurs, but we could stretch the truth a little, I suppose.
I think.
I think that's a great idea, and I'm a damsel in distress that needs that to happen, so
Good.
it's fine.
Thank you. Excellent.
Look at me distressing. Ah!
Look, she's really sad. Bertie addresses the air. Look.
Would you mind fainting?
Ah!
Bertie tries to catch her, sort of, but it's like
I
a
don't-
really feeble face.
As you try to catch me, I do the sort of like an
Through
oil
the-
and
through the
slick
hand-
thing, like
through the hands. No.
completely dodged the attempt to grasp me. I wasn't going to fall, but I do end up on the floor because the dodging impulse is so strong. It's a hug! Dodge!
Evade! Evasion!
Yeah, I've got evasion. I don't think I get.
You only
next
take half
level.
damage on hugs then.
Yeah. Only half comfort.
So we will say that you head out then, presumably to Arc de l'Ordinateur.
It might be worthwhile just meeting some of the other staff that is in that list you got. You know, we don't necessarily have to speak to
Were
Francois.
there other
personally.
people who worked at the ordinateurs?
Yeah, first person on the list was an ordinatist.
Oh, okay.
And to be honest, if Francois is involved in the creation of whatever we're trying to hunt down, he might not want to talk to us, but we might get more from his inferior. Well, from.
How do we
people
know it's
under
his
him.
inferior? Could be another. I mean, I suppose he was the boss. All right. Well, let's see how it goes.
Alright. So we'll say you head down. Naturally, there's lots of toadying as you enter the lobby. Is there anything we can get for you? Would you like us to arrange a carriage? It's a visible, like, few hundred feet walk to the Arc de l'Ordinateur. It's a towering edifice, like, immediately opposite. So you could, if you want. They're all like, we'll get a carriage for you. Is there anything we can do for you?
No, please, no, please, no, make it stop. No.
I think Bruto would like a carriage.
No.
Bertie maintains eye contact with Sasha, takes Bruto out of his papoose, passes him to one of the butlers and says, "A carriage, Mr. Bruto."
They're very clearly holding Brutor and looking to Sasha as to what to do.
No carriages. No, you could give him to a butler.
Look at his
Butler
little
will carry him.
face.
Yeah, it's a dog's face.
Oh, spoil my
One of the footmen, very sort of hiding how much he clearly hates dogs, passes it to your mechanical man, who is still maintaining himself a couple of feet behind you.
I think this guy's got a bit of a fixation, so let's see.
He probably has orders. I mean, you could probably order him to do something different. Just
All
tell him
right.
what you want him to do.
Mechanical man, Mr. McMahon, sir. Could you stay here and stop doing anything? Just drop
He
Brutal.
stares at you impassively.
Right, I think maybe he's stopped doing anything. Right, let's go.
He does not follow you. Brutor, as the party starts to walk away, sort of...
Come on, boy.
He's not willing to jump down. You made this happen. You do not get to be impatient.
I'm walking. I'm gonna whistle. He's gonna come when called. If it requires a handle animal check, that requires a handle.
It does. I realise how domestic things have gotten.
Fine.
But you forced my hand.
10 plus 7, 17.
Brutor, despite all canine biology, raises an eyebrow, jumps down, not particularly gracefully, lands, does the best, proceeds to walk very slowly past you, not looking at you, and then walk along with the rest of the party, making a big show of not looking at Bertie, but nonetheless walking.
What outfit is he in?
He'll still be in the smoking jacket unless you have requested some more clothing, which you will have time to have by the time he gets back this evening.
Silk pyjamas.
Silk
And
pyjamas.
they're monogrammed
Monogram silk pyjamas.
with SBM.
I'm writing that down in my notes.
Yep.
You just knighted your dog.
So,
Not sure you have the authority to do that.
skipping
He
ahead.
does in the God Kingdom, in the Dog Kingdom.
So you head across. Again, you have to wait. They even have the equivalent of like stop signs for cars and so on. But eventually you make it across to the Ark, which is in a large, sort of wide... There's not many buildings around it to steal focus, effectively. It's a large open area. And heading up beneath the arch, there is very clearly a set of double doors, which it's very actually subtle once you're in there. The actual arc itself is ridiculous, huge thing, but the actual doorway itself is actually just a little sign, the Institute of Ordinateur, blah, blah, blah. And presumably heading in, you enter into a large but not ridiculous lobby. It's quite modest, it's a perfect cube though. Tiled floors, wide, there's a couple of windows, and there's a person sat behind a desk, a woman, she appears to be a gnome. And she sat behind the desk, just sort of doing some paperwork.
Bertie, is that one of yours?
Doesn't look like it.
Right. Am I allowed to ask you that?
I think so.
A sudden searing pain! No, you're all right.
What's the line here?
We're looking for the director, is how
No,
he was
no, no,
referred to,
no.
wasn't he?
What was his name on the list? I look at the list.
It was Francois Henri, like Henri.
Henry.
Yes,
Frank Henry.
Frank Henry, director of l'Académie d'Ordinateur.
Who's the other guy?
The ordinatist.
Yeah.
That is Dr. Jean-Luc Beaulieu.
I go up and about to speak, and then as I kind of feel the words coming out of my mouth and see the surroundings, I step back. I'm like, Hamid, I think you better take it.
Excuse me.
Yes, how can I help you?
Hi. We sent the director, Professor, is it? Professor Henri.
There'd be director. Technically, it's a superseding title.
Of course. We sent the director a note requesting the pleasure of calling on him about 10:30, and he did reply saying he wouldn't be able to, but we wondered if it might be possible to arrange an appointment with him later in the day, or perhaps at some point tomorrow.
If you bear
We've
with
got
me.
a personal delivery from the curator of the British Museum that we were requested to make sure was placed directly into his hands. I'm sure you understand.
I do. If you bear with me 1 second, she reaches underneath the desk, pulls out what looks like, this is just going to be, for the sake of magic, a wireless speaking phone. So, you know how normally you'd have those pneumatic tubes and it's hollowed and it's that but with no piping attached. She speaks into it. Again, from Bertie's perspective, blah, 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 blah. None of you can hear what's happening at the other end. Yes, I understand. I'm afraid that Mr. Henri or Monsieur Henri is busy for the rest of the day, but we are more than happy to accept the delivery of the device. We can provide a receipt for transit.
You understand that the curator of the museum is a close personal friend, and he really insisted that I make sure this went directly into Mr.
Give me a diplomacy check before you carry on.
14, so 24.
24. She looks a bit, gives it a consideration.
I'm terribly sorry to put you out. I must confess, I've always been absolutely fascinated. I'm leaning over the desk at her and flashing her my best smile.
Are we having to prop you up?
She's a gnome.
It is
She might have steps to get up to her chair.
Actually, yeah, we'll say that there's like half of it is slightly raised subtly so that you could stand there and talk across the desk.
It's always been a a desire of mine to meet the director personally, and I was hoping that the curator said that we would get on famously, and I was really hoping if there's anything you could do to I don't want to put you to any trouble. It's of course I don't mind waiting a few days if necessary, but I would consider it a personal favour.
She takes a moment and then goes, "Listen, for what it's worth, you shouldn't take it personally. The director hasn't taken any appointments for more than a month. No one really goes in to see him anymore. He's sort of cloistered himself away. So I wouldn't take it personally. For what it's worth, like I said, I mean, we can accept delivery on your behalf."
That's so disappointing. Is he okay?
Oh, he's fine. I was just speaking to him a moment ago.
But he's closeted himself away.
He's a very busy man. What can I say?
Something happened.
Not as far as we're aware.
How troubling. Let me just talk to my.
Yeah, can I?
Let me just confer with my associates.
Oh, of course.
Do you think it's worth mentioning to the director that it's to do with Edison's work?
I think if nothing else has got us in.
I think
Timing matches up.
I don't think we should warn him of that. I think we're going to have to go and see him outside of the normal procedures if we have to. But I think a private conference would be the best time to broach that subject. Don't you think?
Do you think maybe we could get like a tour or something, and I can sneak off and find him?
I was thinking we could come back this evening and wait for him to leave, or once it's all shutting down for the night, if we got inside at that point.
Well, we'd have to case it. Like, we don't necessarily the entrance, or
Absolutely.
he might have
Well,
chambers
yes, I mean,
in here.
Time's wasting now. I could provide an appropriate distraction while the other people perhaps went to another part of the building where the director was located.
Don't know where his office is.
I think organising a tour of some kind is a good idea, and that will give us a chance to
How about you say
scope
you're
the place
a massive
out.
fan, and that you'd just like to be able to see things around?
Yes, we'll see what we can do. I go back to the receptionist. Again, kind of, a bit conspiratorially sort of ask if she, as we're so kind of, excited to be here, if there are tours and whether we could arrange one.
She pipes up. Oh yes, obviously you wouldn't be able to meet Mr. Henry.
No, I
In fact,
understand that. I mean, I'm still going to try because it is an important delivery, but I understand that won't be possible today at the very least. But we'd still love to have a look around.
She seems particularly on board, not like enraptured, but yeah she's fine. I'll tell you what, we've actually had a couple of cancellations. I'd be able to book 4 of you in for a tour later this afternoon. Obviously, you won't be seeing the ordinators themselves because they're protected, but nonetheless, it will be a tour of an institute.
Do the ordinatists give any talks on? I'm absolutely fascinated by the
Certainly.
workings.
Who would you like to be speaking to? If there's anyone specifically.
Well, a cousin of mine did come for a talk here about 3 months ago and mentioned the name Dr. Jean-Luc Beaulieu. Said they had a conversation. And
when was this? I'll just look it up.
I think it was about 3 months ago. It's hard to. I'm not too sure of the exact date. I mean, I must have seen him about a month ago, and he was saying it was.
As you're saying this, she's working out. She's going, no, you see, Dr. Beaulieu has departed the institute about 6 months ago.
Oh, it must have been longer ago than I remembered then.
Oh, well,
that's
there we
so
go.
strange. Maybe it was just before he left. Where?
It's interesting. You're not actually the first person who was asking after Dr. Beaulieu.
Oh, really? Someone else?
Your cousin, was it? Just reading through. Was that Emily Rose?
Oh no, that's not my cousin, but that is actually that's an acquaintance of his that he did introduce me to.
Ah,
so
well-
he must have given the same story to her.
Well, there we go. I'm afraid she was the last person. The best I could do is, I probably shouldn't do this. I have some contact details for Miss Rose if you'd like to contact her. She's the last person that you'll read.
I didn't realise she was in the city. It'd be lovely to see her. We did meet
certainly.
at a couple of parties, and my cousin, I think, was courting her and introduced us.
She writes down some details, passes them over.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So we'll see you again this afternoon, perhaps.
Sure, about 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So what sort of food do they do in Paris?
All of it.
I think we'll have that.
I will cut to. You're back at the institute, well fed, although even going to the upmarket place, it pales a little bit compared to what you were getting in the hotel room, just because it's so obscene. But nonetheless, there is a small group of people gathered outside the arch. Some of them are in suits. It's it seems very much to be a professional tour. So rather than sort of tourists, it's very much a sort of academicians, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Academiatists.
Academoluroli.
Scienticians.
Yep. Academologists.
Academancy. So, nonetheless, yeah, it's there, and there's someone who's sort of taking names for the tour. Presumably, you provide your real names.
I certainly provide my real name.
It's enough. So, if any of you want to use a pseudonym, do tell me. Sasha Racket.
Sachet Rakar.
Sasha Fracas.
Racket.
Don't mean Racket.
Nonetheless, there is
I will give the name Robert Hobson.
Sure, they note it all down, that's fine. They start the tour. They head in. You'll see the female gnome looks up from her desk and gives a little wink to Hamid as you're heading in. They step through and the tour begins. It starts with the historical. Now, the building itself, originally created in 1600, whatever.
Baguette, frog's legs, blah, 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 War of 1870.
I will provide a running translation for Bertie. And Zolf if he wants.
Sure. So the tour
I'll need a cultural translation.
Yeah.
The tour continues down, to be blunt, a lot of boring corridors with some art depicting various points of its history. The tour explains how, thanks to the ordinateurs, Paris, which was always a world power, rose to the prominence for not just the services that ordinating provided, but all of the secondary services, so banking, because of course all of that computing power, and that they used to coordinate all of the logistics for various meritocratic endeavours across the globe, blah, blah, blah. It's very dressed up, it's a bit pompous, really, the way that it's being described.
About half an hour in, I might try and peel off.
Give me a stealth check to do so.
It's been so long that I forgot my stealth. 26.
26? Yeah, you peel off without anyone noticing. I'll stick with these guys just for a little bit.
Can I say, cast message on me, Hamid?
I do so.
Sure. So you peel off and the tour continues explaining how, thanks to this, Paris has secured itself as a world power because it doesn't just take military might in order to establish yourself. Information, blah, blah, blah. It could be quite interesting, but the tour is not. Meanwhile, Sasha...
Hamid's really enjoying it.
Sure. So, Sasha, you peel off.
Sneaking around the Institute, it's a lovely sneaky time. Sneaking around.
The singing really distracts.
You're taking like -5, but you just roll really well. What is it you're trying to achieve? Where are you trying to go? That kind of thing.
Trying to find what looks like the director's offices.
Sure. It's fairly easy to find yourself with effectively a fire safety map on one of the corridors in the event of an emergency.
Convenient map.
Sure, it's very obvious to you that the director holds an office at the very, very top of the arch, sort of like a penthouse office, and there it's very easy to locate a lift. Are you trying not to be seen, or are you trying to pass off like you should be there?
I'm trying to... What, in a studded leather jacket?
Hey, I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm going to try and avoid being seen.
Can I get one more stealth to get you to the lift, please?
I would go up the stairs.
Oh, if you're going up the stairs, same difference, same place.
It's only 12, which means I'm only at 20.
20? You're fine. There's a couple of hairy moments where a couple of gentlemen in white coats walk past. You know, you duck back, they go through. You notice that a few of the rooms have panels at the side where they place a hand on. Again, it looks like something similar to a pentagram. You're not magically trained in that area, so it's all sent to you.
Looks like that weird stuff they do.
Yeah.
That knowledge thing.
So it's clearly they've got a lot of magical locks throughout the place. And heading through, you end up at the staircase at the base. Cutting back to the tour briefly, they have gone through the history, and now you get to meet a real live ordinatist. Now, this is Dr. Picard, let's say.
Bryn's little face.
And it's just...
I can understand him. He speaks in such a wonderful English voice.
And you just go, you know, you can ask him any questions that you want, no matter how technical, and the questions that everyone else is asking are really boring. Would you say that the financial ramifications of the ordinateurs has been large? Yes. Like really
When you say boring, do you mean
stuff.
basic, or do you mean...
The questions that they're asking will have been asked 1,000 times and have no merit to them.
Right.
Hamid might well have some actual questions. He's probably been following quite closely the technical bits.
Sure.
He's relatively interested in this.
Give me one diplomacy check, Hamid.
17, so 27.
27. the ordinatist's face lights up when you start asking actually interesting questions. Stuff like, well, I mean, in banking, obviously, you have an issue of synchronicity between the various ordinateurs. So how do you account for latency in that period and stuff like that? And his face is just like, oh, okay. And he starts going off on. The tour starts moving on and he's looking a bit dispirited. And then he sort of comes up and gives you a card.
If anybody wants to read a series of blogs, posts about the legal and technical implications of the spread of machine learning, I do that.
Yeah, you do!
In real life.
Look at my Twitter, so you can have that.
So he sneaks up and just quickly passes a card to Hamid going, oh, if there's anything I can help you with, fantastic speaking to you. Hope you have a great day. He's very enthused.
Bertie would like to ask a question as well.
Go for it.
So Bertie would like to ask about the possibility of the ordinateurs for analysing magical and or legal information.
Does someone translate for you?
Yes.
He goes, oh, that's actually a really interesting. He's kind of.
Do I need to roll to ask a sensible question that might be?
No, it's fine. I get what you're getting.
Hamid would translate it into sensible,
exactly.
as well as French.
Yes.
So the guy again's going, that's actually a really interesting question. We've actually had a lot of issues with magical contract law and so on and analysis thereon, because obviously
very difficult.
Effectively it just goes into, we have a lot of trouble with magical script because by its nature it's mutable, and they're struggling to find any algorithms to deal with it.
Keep things immutable. Yeah, that's a real problem.
I don't understand that at all.
So
okay.
It's a joke about my job as a computer programmer.
long story.
I could do some jokes about being unemployed if you like. It's pretty good.
Long story short, the answer is hypothetically yes. We're not there yet because magic's really tricky and slippery.
Right.
Cutting back to Sasha.
I wanted the Mission Impossible theme in my head. And I always just get the countdown theme. Thank you. Then no, every time. Oh.
So you head up the staircase. Now, sorry to rain on your parade. It's incredibly easy. There's no drama to it. You're just heading up these stairs. No one comes into the stairwell. They're all using
very
lifts.
straightforward.
Your legs start
quite achievable.
your legs start getting a little bit tired from all those stairs.
I'm very strong.
But nonetheless,
-1. But
Where we con.
my con's quite high. My acrobatics is good. My climb is decent.
this is where we find out it would have been easier for you to go up the outside of the building. Anyway, you eventually arrive, and there is a very plain-looking door, which is Francois Henri, director of l'Institut d'Ordinateur.
I try and message Hamid. Of course, I've got no idea how far away we are.
Doesn't work.
Won't work, it's too far.
I suppose.
Magic.
Knock on... No, wait, I'm casing the joint. It's fine, I can come back later. I'm sort of
Okay.
standing there a bit.
I'm here. But
Can
what
you
do I do?
listen at the door and at least work out if someone's
I
inside?
listen to the door.
Give me a perception check.
Oh, natural 1. I'm not sure it's a door.
No, you listen to the door. The door says nothing.
Listen to the door. The door is a bookcase.
I think there's nothing, but it's just that I've got my head against a nicely painted bit of wall.
So you're
That
listening.
was a really useful
So
conversation.
you're listening at the door, and as you place your hands upon the door to listen, there's a ding dong inside the office. There's a again in French, obviously. Hello.
All right. Knock, knock. Hello.
The door's open.
Okay. Push the door in the most uncharismatic way that a person can. Slightly humming to myself as it. Hi. You might know me from I'm the person that has the presidential suite at the Triumph. It's well good. And we sent a note earlier today from that place. Which is at the Win. The Win. My French isn't very good. It's at the very Win. So, we sent it on a bit of paper because we got a delivery to put directly into your hands yourself from the curator of the museum in Britain. We want to put the delivery on your hands, on your head, on your hand.
Cut to the tour. You have finally been shown a sort of demonstration of the principles behind an ordinateur.
Yeah.
It's
small scale.
However,
version.
the problem is, it's like saying someone, "This is how an iPad works," and there's a whole iPad there because they won't let you look inside because it's a sealed unit. and then basically they're just talking like you put the inputs in here and you get outputs out here. Now there's various things inside, and we use some magical effect. Blah blah blah. It's a widely known thing that whilst the Ordinatists are happy to say certain bits of it, they'll never give you enough to actually replicate. It's a closed system. Anyway, the tour finishes. They say thank you for your time. Obviously, they show you outside, and you find Sasha out there waiting for you.
What, no gift shop?
There is no gift shop.
Oh, this is outrageous.
Monstrous.
She has the
Wait, are we leaving? You mean outside the building?
outside the building. Yes.
Okay, so before we leave the building,
Sure.
I am going to try and arrange dinner later with the receptionist.
She accepts. Although she said she asked where you were because she'll pick you up and take you somewhere nice because out of towners they never know where to go.
Yeah, I agree with her, and say I'm staying at the Triumph.
She's suitably impressed, but hides it well because she's way cooler than Hamid thinks he is, which is pretty cool anyway. So yeah, you find Sasha outside.
Hi Sasha, how did it go?
Sasha, you remember it going amazingly well. You spoke to Francois Henri. He was very, very polite. You had a good long conversation. The details don't really matter. And you were really, really like eloquent in it. You were very, very charming. You got along very, very well.
Something is seriously wrong.
And basically, he sent you on your way, thanking you for your time.
I think I'm better in French than I am in English. It's really weird. I think I might move here. Like, everything went fine. I went in, I knocked on the door, he gave me everything I wanted.
You saw him?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean he gave you everything?
I don't know what I mean.
What?
I mean, everything went fine.
I cast Detect Magic.
Can you please give me a spellcraft check, though?
Yeah. Ooh, 22.
22 is good. You're not sure? You could be wrong. It looks a lot like someone's been modifying some memories.
Yeah, it went like totally great, I think. I mean, maybe I'm just like, it didn't feel like most like conversations do.
Let's go back to the hotel and discuss things there. That's yes.
Right.
What's up?
I think. Well, it looks like someone's cast a spell on Sasha.
What? No, I no one sneaks up on me. I would know about that. I would like notice if someone managed to like sneak one over me. That's what happens.
It looks like a memory modification spell.
Like that? What? No.
Young lady, look at my finger. Now just, do you remember this finger?
And I'll close there.
Helpful as always, Bertie.
So, yes, I realise that can be a little bit weird sometimes for people, so you just got to bear with it. We'll close there. Cool. Thanks for listening, as always, and we hope you all tune in next week for yet more exciting Parisian adventures.
Or were there adventures? Are we just misremembering it? Was it all a dream?
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Rusty Quill Gaming is a podcast distributed by rustyquill.com and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial International License. Today's episode was recorded and produced by Alexander J. Newall. To comment on episodes, make donations, and view links, images, videos, and show notes, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us on iTunes. Visit us on Facebook. Tweet us on Twitter at @TheRustyQuill, or email us at mail@rustyquill.com. Thanks for listening. Say something, Ben? That's actually really useful, genuinely. Lydia? Bryn? James? Okay, we're Thanks for that. Pre-done, because it's a slightly better clip. That's all it is.
Yeah, good.
I think I found the voice of my new backup character.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to munchkin that to have the highest charisma stat possible. You will have to roll with that.
And it'll be so funny because you'll cut into fort to do it. I will kill you and you'll have no backup character. That got weird very quickly. So, picking up where we left off.
It's the sort of thing you'd write, you derivative hack.
I love the fact that I have to cut so much and that has to stay. That has to stay. All the things that have to stay, I have to keep that. Oh, God. Well.
Gynogoyles?
Garnagoyles.
Because you garner information.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So, like, oogling goyles? Oogloyles. They oogle things.
Go Google.
Yeah.
Go
Gargoogles.
Googles.
Gargoogles.
That's better.
I asked them lots of
You asked them lots of
random questions.
Why is the sky blue?
How is Babby formed?
Yeah. Control Shift N.